Welcome to another episode of my live stream, My Journey to the Trinity. My name's Hussein. Happy that you could be with me. I'm in a friend's garage today, so that's why things look different here. And, I was watching Hatun Tash's live stream with Jay Apologetics today. And while I was watching it, I kind of got an idea for just a very simple live stream. I'm just going to do a very simple, and this really is more of a lesson in Arabic than it is anything else. You know, there's you know the there's a lot of problems uh, with the different Qurans, the different qira'at, you know, of Qurans, and uh, and so one of the reasons this is, and it's a very simple reason. Um, it is because there was no diacritical marks in the time when Uthman allegedly made his Quran. Uthman, he Uthman did a lot of stuff, and he was killed. So you can guess what a lot of people thought about what he did. But if you look at what he did in terms of uh, using just what the Muslims believe about the Quran, it just because he in his time had conflict, fitna, because of the different Qurans that were around. There's going to be a civil war between the Syrians and the Iraqis because of the different Qurans that were around. And so, Uthman wanted to remedy the situation by getting rid of all the extra Qurans. Well, the thing he did when he did that is that he ended up, now depends who you talk to, depends which hadith and stuff you read, and they're very inconsistent. You'll find every explanation. But one of the things he did is he burned the six ahruf. The Quran, Muhammad said that the Quran came down in 7 modes or ahruf, letters. And the belief by some, and Father Zechariah has said this, that based on his research, that Uthman burned 6 of the 7 ahruf, because those were what was causing a lot of the problems because they were all different from each other. And it almost brought about a civil war between the Muslims. And so what he did is he burned 6 of them, and he kept the one that he got from Hafsa, but he didn't just get a Quran from Hafsa. He made changes to it. And the way we know that he made changes, because the hadith very clearly says that Uthman said, get Hafsa's Quran. And then he had 3 people that he appointed to do this compilation. And the main guy was Zayd ibn Thabit. And the other 2 guys, I can't remember their names. I don't think it's Ibn Mas'ud and Ubay ibn Ka'b. I don't think it's them. But what happened is that Ubay ibn Ka'b told the other 2 guys, not Zayd, but the other 2 guys, he told them, if you disagree with Zayd on anything, then just go for the Qurayshi dialect. And so, what this shows us is that there were changes made, and there was changes made to Hafsa's Quran. And Hafsa's Quran, by the way, is Abu Bakr's Quran, because Abu Bakr is the first caliph is the one who first compiled the Quran. And then Umar bin Khattab had it, and then he gave it to his daughter Hafsa, who was also Muhammad's widow. And so, Uthman went ahead and compiled his Quran and put his Quran together. Now, this is what his Qurans look like, like the manuscripts. of his Qur'ans look like, okay? They look like this, okay? And I also got this right here. And the thing that is missing from these is diacritical marks. Now, diacritical marks are so important to the Quran, you see, and it's not just the Quran, to the Arabic language, because there's a lot of letters in Arabic that without the diacritical marks, you don't know what they are. And so I just want to show you an example of this problem that we have. Okay, and here, let me just show you this is is an indication, and I'm just going to show you just because we talk about this a lot. Okay, we talk about this a lot, but I'm just wondering sometimes if you don't know the Arabic, if it doesn't make sense just because you haven't had, if you don't know the Arabic, you know, um, maybe it doesn't make sense to you. And so that's kind of what I wanted to do today. Is I just wanted to show you a little bit about the linguistic problem of Uthman's Quran, and because the linguistic problem is what has led to so many different so-called qira'at, or the recitations, different recitations. So let me just show you an example of what the problem is when it comes to the diacritical marks. This this is an example of this is one of the biggest problems with diacritical marks. Okay, this right here, you see this looks like a smiley face, right? It's just like this nice smiley face right there. And and if you look at the Uthmani, you'll see several times where this is used. Now, it's usually connected to another word. So it's not just like by itself, but you can see that smiley face at the beginning of some of these letters. I don't know if you can see my mouse. If you can, I'm pointing to places where this smiley face is being used. And so you've got all these places where the smiley face is being used, but by itself, let's look at this one. This one may have, yeah, this one has it many times. I don't know if you can see my mouse, my but if you can, you see I'm pointing to some of the places where they have this smiley face is being used, but it's connected to another letter, because what it'll do is they'll connect these to other letters. So when you have this right here, now by itself like that, it doesn't mean anything. We don't know what letter this is in Arabic if it's just like this. You have to have a diacritical mark in order to know what letter this is. And so let me show you what can happen to this. What can happen to this particular, this consonant, call this the consonant, okay? If you put one dot on top of this, it becomes noon, which is the letter N. Now, this is a very famous letter, probably one of the most famous Arabic letters, because of ISIS was putting this on the houses of the Christians because they call them Nasara, and the N stands for Nasara. So they used the dot on top. That makes it the letter N, okay? But it comes from this formation, this consonant. But if you put a dot on top, now you have a letter. This is a letter of the alphabet. This is Noon. Okay, so it's the letter N. Okay, but if you put the dot on the bottom, then you have the letter B. Okay, now it's the letter B. And if you put two dots on top, then it's the letter T. It's the letter T. And if you put three dots on top, it's the letter TH. TH. So from this one formation, okay, this one consonant, from this one consonant here, and now I'm going to show you this right here, because this right here is the letter like Y, like or E. The letter E. You pronounce it E, and it doesn't look like the others. But when you use it in a word, it's the same. It's this formation with two dots underneath it, and that's the letter E. To where we have from this one consonant right here, you put a dot on top, and it's the letter N. You put two dots on top, it's the letter T. You put one dot under, and it's the letter B. You put two dots under, it's the letter Y or E. You put three dots on top, and it's the letter TH. Okay, so you see all these different letters: TH, N, T, B, Y. All of them are the same, connected to this right here. It just depends where you put the dot. Put one dot on top, it's an N. Two dots on top, it's a T. One dot on the bottom, it's a B. Two dots on the bottom, it's a Y. Three dots on top, it's a TH. So you see this form, this shape right here can be six different letters, can be six different letters. And so you can see the problem, because the problem with Uthman's Quran, is that he has only this, without the dot on top, or three dots on top, or two dots on top, or one dot on the bottom, or two dots on the bottom. Uthman's Quran does not have any diacritical marks. It's all just like that. And you can, if you read Arabic, you look at this, you can see that. Okay, but if you don't read the Arabic, it might be unclear to you. But I'm just trying to show you what a big problem this is. This is just one letter. There's other letters as well. Okay, but let's just focus on this one, just because the principles of the problems with the Uthmani Quran are you can understand them from the problem that you notice with this one letter. Again, I just want to show you one more time, and is that this is the consonant, just like without the shape, the form. It doesn't mean nothing by itself. If you were to write this in Arabic today, it doesn't mean anything. But if you put a dot on top, it becomes an N. If you put three dots on top, it becomes a TH. If you put two dots on top, it becomes a T. If you put one dot on the bottom, it becomes a B. If you put two dots on the bottom, it becomes a Y. And so, but by itself, you don't know. Is it an N? Is it a T? Is it a Y? Is it a TH? You don't know, or a letter N. You don't know which one it is, because it doesn't have the dots. So that's the problem of the diacritical marks. That's the problem of the diacritical marks. And Uthman's Quran doesn't have them. And that's the problem with the Uthmani Quran. And the reason for a lot of the differences between the different Qurans, the different recitation. You got the Hafs, Shusi. Those aren't even really the recitations. It's awesome. And, I got to get the names of them. There's several names, like 10 recitations. Before Uthman did this, there were 7 allegedly Qurans. Allegedly, before Uthman did this, there were 7. So he reduced it to 1. But because of this issue, there's now 10. There were 10 after, but there's more than 10. But there's 10 recognized recitations. And a lot of the recitations is because of this problem right here. So they didn't know if they should put 2 T's, 2 dots, 1 dot, make it an N, 3 dots, make it a TH, 1 dot under, make it a B, or 2 dots under and make it a Y, or 2 dots on top and make it a T. They didn't know what to do with this. And so this is where a lot of the problems and the differences, because, let me show you. Now if you put 3, you got this smiley face right here, right? Well, let me show you what can happen. Let me show you what can happen when you have 3 of these together. Now this is, I'm going to have to go back and forth here. I'm going to have to go back and forth, but what I'm showing you here. Okay. Okay. This is like three of these. You put three of these next to each other. Okay. And you have this right here. So you got three of those smiley faces right next to each other. Okay. Now, where do you put the dots? And let me tell you, this formation is a very popular one. Well, if you decide to put the dots like a one on top, one on the bottom, then two, this is the word nebet, NBT, nebet, which means plant, nebet, plant. If you put it like this, you got tabith, which means to broadcast, to proclaim, to broadcast, tabith. If you put it like this, it's thabbit, which means to establish. If you do it like this, it becomes bait, which means house. And if you put it like this, it becomes bint, which means girl. So look at all the different words you have from just this three smiley faces next to each other, depending on where you put the dots. And there's many more. I'm only giving you some of the possibilities. You can make so many words from this. From this right here, and you can come up with the word tabith, broadcast, nebet, plant, thabbit, establish, bait, house, or bint, girl. These are just some. There's many more combinations you could do with this. I'm only giving you a few of them. But you know what I'm trying to show you is in the Uthmani Quran, you guys, it doesn't say bint, it doesn't say bint, it doesn't say bait, it doesn't say thabbit, it doesn't say tabith, it doesn't say nebbit. What it says is this right here, this formation. And you have to guess where to put the dots and what this means. It doesn't mean nothing like this. Without the dots, it doesn't mean. So this is how important the diacritical marks are, you see. And depending where you put the diacritical marks, you can end up with nebet, plant, tabith, broadcast, thabbit, establish, bait, house, bint, girl. All of this from the same formation, the same formation. But the problem with the Uthmani Quran is it doesn't have dots. So you don't know if it's a girl, a house, to establish, to broadcast, or plant. You don't know if it's any of those because you only have that without the diacritical marks. And so there is the problem with this, the Uthmani Quran. This is what Uthman did. This is because they didn't use diacritical marks yet. And the one who added diacritical marks, or one of the first ones, was a guy named Duwali, who did it about hundreds of years after Uthman put together his Quran. And so where did he put the dots? I don't know. You know, he all he had was this. So maybe he put like this, came up with nebet, plant, or he did it like this, which is tabith, which means to broadcast, or he did it like this, and it means thabbit, to establish, or he did it like this, bait, which means a house, or he did it like this, bint, which means a girl. Which one was it? You just got to hit miss. You don't know which one it is. You don't, because it doesn't have the diacritical marks. So this is the problem. You see, and so this is the problem with the Uthmani Quran. And this led to all the problems that you have in the Quran. Not all of them, but a lot of them. A lot of the problems that we have with the Quran today, the differences between all of the different recitations, is because of this issue. And now, if you've watched my live streams, because I've talked about this many times, yo quiero Taco Bell. You know what? I just had Burger King, so I usually like Taco Bell, but you know, the problem, you know, one of the very big problems in the Quran that I've showed many times in my live streams, one of the big problems is let me go back. Let me go up here. Let me just show you. Okay, let me go back up here, and it's this particular. This is one of the different passages in the Quran, and it's Humma Abad Rahman. Okay, this is the Hafs version, which says about the angels, Humma Abad Rahman. They are the slaves of the Most High. But the one underneath, which is the Warsh, says Humma Inda Rahman. And the difference, you guys, is just one letter. The difference is just one letter. See, this one is Abad, and this one is Ind. Abad meaning slaves, Ind meaning with. And the only difference between is where you put the dot, because the consonantal structure is identical, but the difference is where you put the dot. And so, if you look, here is that word. Let me see if I can, excuse me 1 second here. I'm going to get the, because I did this, I just wanted to show you that the formation here, the consonantal formation, okay? Let me see if I got the rest of it here. See if I can show you this, because I want to show you the, read. Okay, all right, dude, I did all right then. I got most of these that I wanted, so, okay, let me see. One thing I did not get is the consonantal formation without the dots. But that's really, I'm going to have to ask you to just imagine, because I didn't have enough time to prepare this. But here is the word with. Okay, with. Okay, the reason it's with is because you see the dot on top. The dot on top makes it with. Okay. Okay, just 1 second here. Okay. Just 1 second here because I want to show you. What I want to show you guys is the consonantal. See, this is the consonantal structure of that word. Here it is without any dots. Like this, you kind of got to guess what the word is. Okay. Like this, you have to kind of guess what the word is. Now, there's 3 letters. The first letter, okay. Now, remember that the Arabic goes from right to left. Okay, the Arabic goes from right to left. Now, we know that the last letter is a D. We know that the first letter is what's called the ain, and it makes it go, it makes it that sound with your throat. Okay, now, if I put a dot underneath it, it becomes abd, or abad, which means slave. If I put the dot on top, it becomes ind, which means with. If I put 2 dots on top, it becomes ated, which means attack. And if I put, oops, do I have the other one? Oh, I can't believe I didn't bring up the other one because I do have it. 1 second, because this is probably the most important one. Okay, so this one right here. Most important one is this word, Eid. Okay, and the Eid means holiday or the festival. Eid al-Adha, the festival of Adha. Okay, the festival of sacrifice. Which is the Muslim festival of sacrifice. Okay, and so I just want to go back and show you that this right here is the consonantal structure. This is it right here. Okay. Now I have that line there just because I didn't know how to get rid of it. This is the consonantal structure. If you put a dot underneath it, it becomes abd, slave. If you put the dot on top, it becomes ind, which means with. If you put two dots underneath, it becomes feast or holiday. If you put two dots on top, it becomes ated, because it becomes attack. Because you see here, you got the N in the middle. Okay, remember the dot on top makes it an N, like I showed you. Okay, if you put the one dot underneath, it becomes abd because it's a letter B. Here's the B, see? Abd, abd. If you put two dots, it becomes Eid, holiday. But it all goes back to this consonantal structure. The problem, you guys, with the Uthmani Quran, the problem with the Uthmani Quran is you don't have Eid, a holiday. You don't have Abd, which is slave. You don't have Aind, which is with. And you don't have Ated, which is like attack. All you have is this. And so because there's no diacritical marks, there's no dots on it, you don't know what word it is. You don't know which dot, where you're supposed to put the dots. You put the one on top, make it with. Do you put two on top, make it attack? Do you put one on the bottom and make it a slave? Or do you put two on the bottom and make it a holiday? You don't know. You got to guess, because this is all you have. And that's the problem with the Uthmani Quran, you guys, is the Uthmani Quran doesn't have the diacritical marks. So you don't know if you're dealing with a B or a T or a Y or, let's go back. I told you there's like 6 letters, or an N or a T. You don't know which one you're supposed to deal with, and so that has led to lots of the problems that you have with the Quran today. This is what the Uthmani Quran has. No dots. So you can guess. Just put the dots wherever you want. If you want to put 2 dots underneath, you have a holiday. If you have 1 dot on the bottom, you have a slave. If you have 1 dot on top, you have with. If you have 2 dots on top, you have an attack. Okay? And so you just got to get got to guess which one you want, and so this has led to many of the problems, and I'm going to show you now. I'm going to show you some of the problems that resulted in this problem right here, in this problem of no diacritical marks. Because there's no diacritical marks, see, there's no diacritical marks, you can just guess which letter. Is it a T? Is it an N? Is it a TH? Is it a B? Is it a Y? And then when you got them all together, you got to guess. Is it a plant, nebet? Is it a broadcast, tabith? Is it established, thabbit? Is it bait, a house? Or is it bint, a girl? Because it's all goes back to the same structure here, but depends where you put the dots. And you guys, I'm just showing you 2 examples. I'm showing you 2 structures, 2 examples. Okay, and let me go. Okay, you got that? This one, I'm just showing you 2. But when you have the thousands of words in the Quran, however, and this one, I'm just showing you 2. I'm showing you 2 consonantal structures and where you can put the dots, and how that each time you change a dot, you change the word. It's not like these words are similar. There's a big difference between bait, a house, and bint, a girl. There's a big difference. A girl is not a house not a girl. But you could end up with either one in the Quran, because you don't know where the dots go. This is all you have in the Uthman's Quran. So you might end up with a girl, you might end up with a house, you might end up with an establishment, you might end up with a broadcast, you might end up with a plant. So all of this because there were no diacritical marks in Uthman's Quran. And so this has led to a lot of the, it's led to a lot of the problems. That's why there's so many different Qur'ans, Let me see the harakas. Yeah, now see the haraka is that's another issue. This is, Amir says the haraka was invented after the death of Muhammad by many years. I mean, it was after Muhammad. It was after Uthman as well. It was after Uthman as well. And that's why, you end up with all of these problems. So And the harakat is something else too. Excuse me, I'm thinking about the dhamma and all that. The the vowels. This isn't the vowels. This is just the diacritical marks. And then you get into the issue of the vowels. That's another. Uh, this is another subject too, And well, you know what? Being right-handed, Alex, it was almost a requirement. It was like they considered it bad luck to be left-handed, and so the. Anyway, let me go ahead and show you. I want to show you some examples where tashkil. I can only read Arabic with the tashkil. Without tashkil, it's a Greek to me. It's clear the Quran was man-made. And then you have to ask another question, you guys. You got to ask another question. And the other question is, which one of these are the dots on the preserved tablet? What's on the preserved tablet, the Lawh al-Mahfuz? Is it this? Is it this? Or 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 is it this? Is it a girl? A house? An establishment? A broadcast? A plant? Which one is on the preserved tablet? You see, these are the issues, the problems you come up with when you have no diacritical marks. And especially today, people don't know how to read the Arabic without it, Here's a TH, is it an N? Is it a T? Is it a B? Is it a Y? You don't know, okay? And it all goes back to the fact that this is a picture of like the Uthmani script. No diacritical marks. Try to make sense of that if you know how to read Arabic. And here's another example. No diacritical marks, which leads to, let me show you what it leads to. Now let me go explain some of this to you, because I've talked about this before, but I haven't, without the explanation, I don't know if you really understood a lot of it. Here's, like I said, here's my favorite example, abd, because this is used in the Quran about angels, abad, because it has that line on top, makes it abad and not abd, which means slaves, or with a dot on top, it means ind, with. And it comes from this verse right here. وَجَعَلُوا الْمَلَائِكَ الَّذِينَ هُمَّ عَبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ. They are the slaves of the most merciful. Okay, but in the Warsh version, it's ind. So this version right here has this word, abad, which is slaves. But the Warsh, they put the dot on top and made it with. And it's the whole problem is the diacritical marks. Here again is the example that I've used it so many times. Humma abad ar-Rahman, humma ind ar-Rahman. Okay. Now let's look at a couple of other. Now this is the exact same problem, you guys. This is the exact same problem. One is the Habs, one is the Wash. And the problem again is the diacritical marks. Okay, the top one is naghfiru, which means we give mercy. That's the Habs version. But in the Wash version, they just decided to move the dots, to change the dots, And so what they did is they put the dots on the bottom instead. And what happened is from we give mercy, it became he gives, yaghfiru. He gives mercy. Top one is naghfir, we give mercy. The bottom one is he gives mercy. And you can see you're changing the subject of the sentence from we to he. That's not the same. And why did this happen? Because there were no diacritical marks in the Uthmani text. And so they came later and said, okay, put it here, no, put it here, no, put it there, put it. And then you end up with this problem. This is exactly a diacritical mark problem right here. I know there's a lot of different symbols on here, but the ones that I want you to focus on is the dots, just the dots. And you see the 3 dots on top on this one makes it naghfir. We forgive, we have mercy. And the bottom one is yaghfiru. he forgives. So it changes the subject of sentence from we to he. Again, this is another example, exactly the same problem. And this is from Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 85. And the top one is يَعْمِلُونَ, they make. And it has, if you remember, look from the right to the left, and you see two dots on the first letter on the top one. That's the Hafs. يَعْمِلُونَ, they make. But the bottom one, the Warsh, they just decided to put the dots on top instead. When you put the dots on top, it turns into ta'amilun, which is you, plural, make. The top one is ya'malun, they make. The bottom one is ta'amilun, you make. So here, from the Hafs to the Warsh, you have changed the subject. And how did you change the subject? By putting the dots where you put the diacritical marks. And the reason why they had this problem is because Uthman didn't have diacritical marks. And so it was a free-for-all. Put them dots wherever you want. And then the words you don't, but nobody agreed where to put those dots. Here's another example. Ma tanzilu. What you sent down. Ma tanzilu. What you sent down. This is in the Hafs version. In the Warsh version, it's the bottom one. It says, Ma nunzilu, what we sent down. The top one is what you sent down. But what the bottom one is, Ma nunzilu, what we send down. And, and just because this is being used in a Quranic context, when it says nunzil, that means reveal. So the one on top is saying, what you reveal. The bottom says what we reveal. And what's the problem? It's the dots, you guys. The dots are the problem. Okay, so let's look at this one right here. Again, this one, fanwafihum, we will finish, or we will complete them, or we will make them die. You can also say this means we will make them die. Fanwafihum, because of the dot, we will make them die. But the bottom one is faywafihum, he will make them die. From we will make them die to he will make them die. The Hafs is fanwafihum. This is in Quran, Surah Imran, chapter 3, verse 57. He will make them to die. Now you see how this, because quite often when you see these differences, they'll say, oh, it's pronunciation, it's everything. No, the meanings are changed. The meanings are completely changed. The subject of the sentences are changed by these dots. One says, you make him to die. The other one says, he makes him to die, or we make him to die. And that is because of the dots, because there were no diacritical marks in the time of Uthman. And then here's another example. And then the examples I'm showing you guys, the reason I'm showing you these examples is because these are all the direct result of not having diacritical marks. Okay? It's because they didn't have that, and so it was a free-for-all. Just put the dots here, no, put the dots there, put the dots here, and that's how come you got so many differences. That's why you got so many differences. And this one is nahshurhum, we constrain them, or we trap them. Nahshur is to kind of close in on them, siege them. And the bottom one is yahshur. And again, the difference is the dots. The first one has the dot on top, which means we constrain them. The bottom one is yahshurum, which means he restrains them. We restrain them, or he restrains. And the difference is where the dot is. The top one has the dot on top. The bottom one has the two dots on the bottom. And when you do that, I'm going to show it with my, I don't know if you can see my arrow, but if you can, see this dot right here? That makes it a noon, an N. We constrain them. The bottom was yahshuruhum. He restrains them. And that's all because of the different the diacritical marks. Okay, so anyway, guys, I just wanted to kind of explain this because I've talked about this many times. But if you don't know the Arabic, uh, it might be quite difficult for you to know what we're talking about, you know. And but hopefully, this kind of, if you don't speak Arabic, I think a lot of you do read and write Arabic or speak Arabic to where you understand a little bit. But if you don't, this is kind of an explanation of what is the problem with Uthman's Quran. No diacritical marks. No diacritical marks, you see? And the problem is when they finally decide to put in diacritical marks, where do they put them? Where do you put diacritical marks on something like this? Do you put it on top and make it an N? Do you put 3 on top and make it a TH? Do you put 2 on top and make it a T? Do you put 1 on the bottom and make it a B? Or you put 2 on the bottom and make it a Y? You see, it's a free for all. Put it wherever you want, whichever one sounds good. And it gets into a real problem, like I said, you know, when you have, and then when you start putting letters together like this, and this is all Uthman gives you is this. So you have to decide, where do I put the diacritical marks? If I put them like this, nebet, the word becomes plant. If I put it like this, tabit, it means to broadcast. If I put it like this, thabbit, it means to establish. If I put it like this, it means bait, house. If I put it like this, it becomes girl, bint. So you see, this is the problem that you have from this one consonant structure. Because of the diacritical marks, you can come up with all these different words, and each one of them is different as the land is from the sea. You know, they're completely different. I know I just made that up, the land from the sea. And no, it's not a green screen. It's just a green tarp for my friend's garage because he's having a garage sale tomorrow and I'm helping him out. So that's why I'm here. But anyway, I just wanted to show you. This is why there's so much confusion. This is why all these Qurans are so different. Each one of them is from a different planet, you know? And each one of them is different because they didn't have the dots. And when they came along and started putting dots, they said, okay, let's put one here, let's put one there, let's put 2 there, let's put 3 there, let's put 1 here, let's put one. And, you know, this is why each Quran is different. Each Quran says it differently because they put the dots in different places. And you can't do that in Arabic because you completely change the meaning of the word. You completely change the meaning of the word. And that's what they did. Now, let me just tell you, there's other letters that use the dots as well. There's the letter sin. Okay, let me just show it to you. Let me go ahead and let me go ahead and show that to you, how to do that. This is the letter sin, which is quiet. Okay. Let me just show you this example here. Now, some of you guys already know this. You know, I'm trying to show you some of the other words in Arabic that use the diacritical marks, and by using them, it changes the meaning or changes the letter. And by, you see that when you don't have diacritical marks, you have a huge problem. And so let me just. And this is the problem. This is the reason why Uthman's Quran is makes lots of potential for lots of problems. Here, let me just show you these. I'm not going to show you everything, but I'll show you these because they show you the magnitude of the problem that we have with this. Okay, this is the magnitude of the problem that we have with this. Okay, going back, this is the Uthmani Quran. Okay, and let me just show you a couple more letters and how this issue, how this issue, and this is because of the way that the Arabic language, for instance, this right here is the letter F. Okay, it's got one dot on it. Okay, but if you put two dots on it, it becomes Q, K, the letter K. So if you have one dot, it's F. If you put two dots on it, it becomes a Q. Okay, so you can just imagine how that the problems that you end up with when you confuse the two. You put the F or the Q because and the problem is in the Uthmani in the Uthmani Quran, they didn't have the dots. So which one is it, F or Q? You know, they look the same, but they're not the same. Here's another. This is a huge problem right here. This is the letter S. You put three dots on it, it becomes sh, sh, sh. So is it S or SA? It looks identical, and the hubs doesn't have the diacritical marks. So if it's a SH, it looks like this. If it's a S, it looks like this. But it might be an SH instead. Think about it, like the word sit down. That was a bad example. You, uh, uh, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna be able to do it in English, but but I could, you can see the problems that you end up with because you don't have diacritical marks. And I just showed you a couple examples, but it changes the meaning, it changes the word, it changes everything. And so here's just one more example of letters where there's this, which is called the ain, and it goes ain. But if you put a dot on top, it becomes like GH. Like in French, they use the we don't use it in English, but in the French, they say the sound, kind of like a baby, thrown up. Not that's how you use it. Like the word rib, which is the unknown. And here, ain, you use that. It's the last letter in the name of Jesus, Yeshua. And so but if you put a dot on top, it becomes a r. If it's no dot, it's ain. Okay. If it's no dot, it's S. If you put the dot, it becomes SH. If with one dot, it's F. With two dots, it's Q. A completely different letters, and the Uthmani Quran doesn't distinguish, and so you're kind of left to guess which one it's supposed to be, because it doesn't have the dots. Okay, and again, we go back to our most famous. This is the most famous. The smiley face, two dots on top, it's a T. One dot on the bottom, it's a B. Two dots on the bottom, it's a Y. One dot on top, it's an N. Three dots on top, it's a TH. And so, which is it? Which letter is it? What is it supposed to mean? You have to guess. You just guess. Put it here, put it there, put it there. But when you do that, you're changing the meaning completely. And so, anyway, that's all I wanted to share with you guys. Just a little brief thing, kind of like, because I saw. Let's see here. Kieran said, Jay Smith said people in Northern Arabia didn't have dots and vowels, but Southern Arabia. Well, that's interesting. You see, that's interesting, which kind of leads to Jay's theory that, the Quran didn't come from Arabia, it came from North. Hey, Lamb Goat, how are you, bro? And so, like, we send that stuff down with dots. And that, you see, that's kind of a joke. It's kind of funny, but I tell you, it deals with a very serious subject. Which one was sent down? Which one is on the preserved tablet? Is the verse about a girl, or is it about a house? Is it a girl, bint, or a house? Is it an attack, or is it with, or is it a slave, or is it a holiday? Because there was no doubt, no dots. You don't know which one it is. All you had was this, and so you're kind of left to guess which one And then you got to ask, well, which one? Thank you, Dragon. Which one was on the preserved tablet? You just got to guess. From this word, you can make at least four different words. At least four different words. Aind, which is with, Atad, which is attack, Eid, which is a holiday, or Abd, which is a slave. So which one is it? This is all Uthman gave you, and you get to guess what you want to do with it. So anyway, so here's Almir has showed us some more. Yes, thank you very much. This first formation right here is that there's three. There's a ch, h, and j, and these are three. This you see now. This is a very huge. I think I'm going to go ahead and take a picture of that because this is a very important, because this really has a huge impact. Let me go ahead and put this up because I want to. I'm not going to show all of the ones that Elmir sent, but he sent some very important ones. And the Arabic, there's so many letters in the Arabic where you have to have. But this right here is a huge problem right here. This one, Thank you very much, Elmir, for sending that. And let me just go back here and take this off so that you guys can see it. Okay, see these three. There's three different letters, but you can see it's the same formation. See the formation, the like the dash with the circle underneath it. Like if you look at the one in the middle, that's the formation. It looks like a T almost. It looks almost like a T. The one in the middle, that's the letter H. H. No, we don't use it. That's like a hard H. H. And like my name, Hussein, starts with that letter H. But if you put the dot in it, which is the one on the far right, if you put the dot underneath it, it becomes J, like Jesus. But if you put the dot on top, like the letter on the far left, it becomes Ch, Ch. So it goes from J to Ch to Ha. And each one leads to different words. And so which one, and the problem is, Uthman only gave you the one in the middle without dots. So you have to guess, is it a Ch, is it a J, or is it a Ch? But that's exactly, see, this is a huge problem. This one is a huge problem, you guys, because, let me just show you this. This is kind of funny, actually. Since somebody brought it up, and I still got enough of you here, I'll just show you this. This is kind of funny. This is okay. This is kind of funny, you guys, because okay. I used to have a friend. His name is Justin. His name is Justin. Okay. So I'm going to do something here. This is just going to take me a second, you guys. Just give me 1 second here. And I want to do something. Okay. It's just going to take me a second here, you guys. This is kind of funny because I had a friend named Justin. He's still a friend. I love him, and we're friends. But I don't see him as much nowadays because we live in different states. But he was my best friend. He's such a great Christian man. So he is. Used to go witnessing together all the time, and he loved the Lord. So I just want to show you this situation, and it is related to what we're talking about. So it's kind of funny that someone brought this up, Elmir, by sending us those letters. Okay, this is the, let me just show you this. Okay, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do this. Let me see if I'm able to do this. Okay, here's the formation, you guys. This is the consonantal formation. Okay, now depending where you put the dots on this, oops, depending on where you put the dots on this, because see, this doesn't have any dots. But if you put the dots like this, who can tell us what this says? Who can tell us what this says right here? Who knows what this says? Whoever gets it was going to get a free special recognition right now. Who can tell me what this says? What does this word say right here? Does anybody know? Oh, come on. Some of you guys know Arabic. Okay, this is Hussein. Right on. Thank you, Laser. Hussein, which is my name, Hussein. Well, my best friend's name, I already told you, his name was Justin. You see? And his name is Justin. Depending where you put the dots, you see, because it's the same consonant, the consonantal structure is the same. If you put the dot on top, on the bottom and then top, it becomes my name, Hussein. But if you put the dot underneath, see the first letter, it makes it a J, and it becomes Justin. So it could be Hussein, or Justin. So if these two names were somewhere in the Quran, you wouldn't know if you're talking about Justin or Hussein because of where the dots go. You see the problems that you create by not having the dots. And so, anyway, Justin, Hussein, it's the same consonant but different dots, and so the dots change everything. It changes the person. You know, you're either Justin or Hussein, depending on where the dots are. So anyway, see, those are the problems that you end up with when you don't have the right diacritical marks. So if anybody, I think you guys maybe knew some stuff about this from before, so I don't think it's brand new to any of you guys. But let me just I appreciate you guys being with me. I know it's kind of late, and I'm just going to very quickly. First of all, I have to plug in because I'm about to run out of energy here. I got to go plug in. And I want to just play a song for you. I'm not going to sing it. I'm just going to play it from the internet. And jeepers, no plugs. No place to plug in. Dude, if I don't have a place to plug in, I'm not going to be able to play this song for you. I wanted to play this song for you that I wrote. You know what? I can't find an electric plug. Can you believe that? Sometimes, oh, there's one. Let's just put it in here. Okay, that worked. Okay, I just want to play for you a song that I wrote. Thank you guys for being with me. I know it's kind of late, but this is the... make sure and share this, you guys, because a lot of people don't understand this. Make sure and share it, because I'm trying to make it a little bit simple so you guys, people can understand what we're talking about. A lot of times especially when we're talking about things in Arabic, quite often people don't understand it. And so, this maybe will help people to know what we're talking about when we're talking about Arabic grammar or Arabic letters. And the issues of the diacritical marks. That's a very important subject, the marks. So, okay, here's the song I wanted to play for you guys. Now I can see how you were there watching over me. sheep you guided, gave your life for me. It's getting so much clearer now, though it was there all the time, that to save a single lost sheep, you would leave the 99, shepherd of love, shepherd of love. How the pieces come together in your mighty hand. Looking back, I see your footprints in the sand. It's getting so much clearer now, though it was there all the time, that to save a single lost sheep, you would leave the 99, shepherd of love, 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 shepherd of Thanks, you guys, for sticking around hearing that. Okay, I got one more issue to deal with. Who can tell me what hadith does this make you think of? Who can tell me a hadith that this makes you think of? Can anyone think of a hadith this makes you think of a hadith? What hadith does this make you think of? There's a few hadiths this should make you think of. No, a hadith, not a scripture. Dabatul ard. Comment. What hadith does this make you think of? Monkey vomit idolatry. Hey, actually, there's a Quran verse too. Who can think of it?
Hussein. Has to do with Aisha. Like in the hat, bro. Rock and roll. What hadith does it make you think of? Has to do with Aisha. Aisha. Remember, she was playing with her dolls when they came and took her to give her to Muhammad. And she's still playing with the dolls when she was in Muhammad's house. Her toy, yeah, she was playing with her toys. And Muhammad wanted to go. Remember, he wanted to play with them when she was playing with her friends. Anyway, a nice joke. Anyway, you guys, stone monkey for a dog. Anyway, guys, if you haven't done it, do it right now. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. يسوع ساعدني. يسوع سامحني. يسوع ادخل قلبي. يسوع ساعدني. يسوع سامحني. يسوع ادخل قلبي. He loves you. I love you. Thanks, you guys, for being with me, and have a great night. Please share this video